China says that it will stick to the Phase 1 trade deal reached with the United States, even as tensions soar over Hong Kong and Huawei. But Beijing says that it will respond to Washington's bullying tactics. In a moment, live to Simon Marks in Washington. But first, a look at where we are right now.
A pushback from Beijing. The Foreign Ministry has accused the United States of oppressing and bullying China, as both sides cross swords over Chinese telecoms giant Huawei, as well as Hong Kong's new national security law.
美国国内现在不断有人在放出各种风，而且呢，对中国进行无端的、近似疯狂的打压、围追堵截，对中国实施霸凌、霸权。我们也必须要对美方对我们的霸凌和不公坚决地说不，也会采取坚决的行动来维护我们的主权、安全、发展利益。
The US has stepped up pressure on China on multiple fronts. President Trump has ended Hong Kong's special trading privileges. At the same time, the US has restricted visas for employees of Huawei. Washington has accused Huawei of working for the Chinese government and says global security and personal data will be at risk if the company dominates the development of the world's 5G internet. It's applauded the UK's decision to ban Huawei from its own 5G network, a move that China says is dirty play.
英国政府呢，的确在华为的问题上丧失了宝贵的独立和自主。那么他们做出的决定是得不偿失的。
Beijing says all this shows that Britain has lost its independence on the issue.
Simon Marks is live in Washington, D.C. for us. Simon, it looks like a further deterioration of relations between these two countries, but China's comments, they appear to be aimed at easing tensions. The U.S. isn't prepared to back down on this one, though, is it?
No, there's no indication of that whatsoever, Dawn. And just on that issue of whether Britain has lost its independence, Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, certainly wasn't assisted by Donald Trump here in Washington, who just a day or so ago insisted that he had been the person who had made sure that Huawei was excluded from any role in Britain's 5G network. That, of course, is not the way the British government tells the story. But from the Trump administration's perspective, this is not about ratcheting down tensions. This currently is about ratcheting them up. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. First of all, the strategic reason. Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, President Trump, both fervently believe that it is important now for the United States to turn a page in terms of its historic relationship with Beijing. As Mike Pence himself put it at the State Department earlier this week, we have to deal with China as it is, not as we would wish it to be. So they argue that there is realpolitik driving all of these decisions that they're making. And then, of course, there is the electoral issue here in the United States. Nothing that happens 4 months before a US presidential election happens in a vacuum. And it's absolutely apparent from all the language that we've heard President Trump use over the last several weeks that he wants to use China as a target of attack during his attempt to secure re-election here at the hands of voters this coming November. And this constant reference to the China plague, these new measures that are being unveiled every single day, are tied together. The president believes that he can make particularly the Chinese Communist Party a bogeyman in this year's presidential election that will help him accrue support that he desperately needs, given that the latest national poll shows him now 15 points behind Joe Biden.
And with that in mind, Simon, about making the Communist Party the bogeyman, if you like, there are reports suggesting that the Trump administration is considering a travel ban against all members of the Communist Party.
Yes, this is a report that's published in the Thursday edition of the New York Times. They cite 4 sources inside the White House who say that there are ongoing conversations about the possibility of a travel ban on members of the Chinese Communist Party, possibly restricted to people with ties to the People's Liberation Army. Those sources stress that this is just a proposal, that President Trump has not yet approved it. It is being discussed at the highest levels inside the White House, according to the newspaper. I think it's important to underscore that at this point, right now, a travel ban is somewhat meaningless. I mean, there are no direct flights in either direction from the United States to China. And I think it's fair to say that with COVID-19 aflame in the United States, there are a limited number of Chinese people eager to come here. But this ban could impact current visa holders and people already in the United States, living here, residing here, who may be forced then to leave. So that would represent another sizable uptick in tensions if it's unveiled, along with the conversation that's underway about possibly banning or restricting TikTok and WeChat in China. So the Trump administration by no means over with these measures yet.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to speed with it. Simon Marks speaking to us from the U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C.